Anyway, let's also talk about the performance of Carlos Alcaraz in Cincinnati. There was quite a few stories there. I mean, first of all, he said that this was the worst match. Huh?
A different sport he played.
Different sport. I mean, he definitely said that it was the worst match of his career,
Yeah.
which sounds a little excessive. But then again, like this guy, ever since he was like 15, he was constantly winning, going upwards.
Yeah.
So maybe, and also he smashed that racket, into oblivion.
But it was very good. It was very good. I was obsessed with watching the clip because it was perfect. No, whatever. Talking about, I said, different sport because of his quotes. He said that he couldn't really adapt to the condition, and he felt like, almost as he was playing a different sport. And yeah, it was a bad performance. We have somehow to expect it at times. So I still was surprised to see the result because actually I haven't watched that match. So when I watched the result, I was like, okay, was not really expecting it. Even if a little bit, yes, when I saw that they had suspended the match and with that kind of score. So I was like, okay, this is a tough one. So, something can happen. But yeah, it's okay. I mean, of course, the Olympics have, made him skip Canada. So you have a bad day, you lose a match in Cincinnati, and it's over for you. The preparation for the U.S. Open. But yeah, we will see. He's a best in best of 5. So for me, this is not concerning at all. Talking about the U.S. Open. Maybe he won't win, but I don't feel like this really changes anything in perspective. But yeah, I mean, a tough match. I wouldn't really go that deep because I feel like it's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, I think some fans in Spain, especially, they're kind of used to following Rafael Nadal, who never broke a racket. So maybe that's why it's kind of shocking to them.
Yeah, he had to apologize.
Yeah, he did apologize. Yeah, which shows you that he also didn't really feel right about it, and perhaps also about the reaction to it. But yeah, I mean, show me a player other than Nadal who has never broken a racket, right? I mean, sometimes we have saints and. But otherwise, like almost everyone does it. Personally, I would just never do it because I'm not rich. I mean, I'm not gonna buy myself a racket, right? Just because I got angry. I did break my table tennis bat once though, and it didn't feel right. Again, like I had to. Well, actually, once I broke it and I had to replace it, and once I broke it and I just re-glued it. But anyway, yeah. Long story short. What else? Is this loss a big hit in terms of his US Open preparation? Because we had him losing to Jack Draper in Queens, and I remember us talking that I don't think it really matters what he does in Queens. He's still gonna have the best of 5 format to kind of play himself into form. US Open, he's won it already. It's not probably as comfortable for him as the Wimbledon grass right now is. But I guess we still expect him to have just a couple early rounds. I was just looking at his recent slam records, and it just feels so impossible for Carlos Alcaraz to lose in an early round of a Grand Slam right now. I know at Wimbledon he was actually very close to against Francis Tiafoe. The third round, of course, the fourth set tiebreak. But I don't know. It just hasn't happened in a while, and it will probably come as a huge shock when it does. I still wouldn't really expect it at the moment.
Yeah, the last time he was really very, very, very close was probably the French Open 2022, and he still hasn't lost early. But I remember that match against Ramos Vignolas.
Yeah.
There he was, very, very close, but it feels like ages ago because, he had nothing almost. He already had 2 Masters, but yeah, he had, a quarter of his current palmarès and also his age, 2 years at this stage of their careers, it's a big difference. Yeah, it doesn't feel likely. Yeah, for sure. I mean, playing matches, some competitive matches, it's always great for a player, but you can do anyway. I think, even without it, I don't know. We have Sinner before the Australian Open. We have this case, Alcaraz before Wimbledon. Yeah, he played 2 matches at Queens, but not like tons of them. Alcaraz, Sinner skipped Rome, and they faced each other at the French Open in semi-final. Alcaraz winning the title then in the end. So yeah, I would say that we've been proven, at least for these players, it's not like if they don't have this great preparation in terms of competitive matches, then it becomes very, very more unlikely for them to go deep into slams. So
Yeah, and also when it comes to the top four, so Sinner, Djokovic, Zverev, and Alcaraz, there. I mean, Sinner was going to be number one anyway after Cincinnati, but there was a chance for some shakeup in terms of the rankings. This is mostly a chance that Alcaraz missed to get to number two, but also Zverev, he could have been number two with a title.
yeah.
So that was pretty wild as well. So do you think that's sort of what happened there, the ranking implications of the whole thing? Will they be a major sort of thing at the US Open as well? Just the fact that Sinner and Djokovic cannot face each other into the final. Alcaraz is 50% likely to get either in the semi, and of course same with Zverev.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the semifinals, it's a bit too far, to really, you think about it maybe, but I don't feel like it really should affect your performance because, yeah, I mean, of course, it's maybe even better to avoid a certain player until the final, but at worst, you get to face him in the semis. So it's still very, very far in the tournament. You're already in the very close stages. So I think that these professional guys, as they are, I don't think it's really that deep maybe for them, even because you really don't know who's better who would be more balanced as top two seeds. Djokovic, Alcaraz, Sinner, all three have their cases. So I don't know. I don't really know if this could have played a major factor in Alcaraz's head. Probably we may say Zverev, but Zverev, I feel like he did okay in the tournament. So I don't even feel like it was for this reason. Maybe that he lost that close match. I don't know. I don't feel like that actually.
Yeah, I think Zverev, like it was so far away at the start of the week, especially with Carlos still in the draw, that I
Yeah.
don't think he ever really had the time to like start thinking about that possibility. Carlos probably knew about it, probably wasn't the most important thing. Rather just him unable to handle the conditions and the heat that Gael Monfils brought. I mean, he told us earlier earlier this year in Estoril that he kind of likes faster conditions now that he's old as hell. And yeah, he was right. He's just proving it. By the way, do you think that Medvedev has had a terrible year? I'm kind of seeing that narrative more and more, and I don't know if I can agree with it. I mean, Indian
No,
Wells
terrible
final, the
is
win
not
over
terrible.
Sinner, yeah, the Australian Open final, like it's fine. It's just fine. It's nothing special, but it's fine.
Terrible is not terrible. I pretty much think that it's been probably disappointed to see him, getting to this part of the season and, going to the US Open with 2 straight losses. But, I feel like the slam hasn't arrived yet. So before the slam ends, I wouldn't really draw a line, because maybe he just has another deep run, at the US Open like he usually does, and then it starts feeling okay again. If he has an early loss at the US Open, that maybe you may start feeling a little bit about, but not disaster, a bit of disappointment. Probably it's more that he won also many matches and kind of playing ugly, let's say, meaning that he hasn't really played unbelievable level this year. Also the Australian Open wasn't that good. Probably the best was the beginning of the final. And so yeah, also not having got, you know, a title moment here and there, you know, he's not used to that, let's say like this. So I can get where these people are coming from, but yeah, disaster is totally exaggerated considering that, you know, he's still fifth in the race and has a Grand Slam final. Indian Wells reached the final. Miami was in the semis. So yeah, the first part of the year was actually very, very consistent. And yeah, now I feel like people just want him to provide them a good answer on the hard court. So let's see what he does at the US Open, and then probably, you know, we will be able to judge in a more proper way.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, like he won 5 titles already by this time last year. He actually won 5 titles already by Rome last year, and
Yeah, it
that's
was the
the
last
only,
one.
yeah, that's the only real shame, I think, is that he hasn't won a title since May. You know, just give him a 250 somewhere. But yeah, I think still
Yeah,
he's
hasn't
done a lot
played
of good work
actually.
this season. He hasn't played
He,
too many. Yeah,
in
he's
the
not
past
focused on
52
getting better. That's
weeks, him and Sinner are the only two players who in the top, I don't know what, who, you know, the top 20 players, I think that they have never played, you know, they have not played a 250
That's interesting.